There is a silence before the storm of abundance. A stillness that most people mistake for emptiness, a pause they interpret as the universe not listening, a gap between their prayers and their results that they fill with doubt, with fear, with the desperate and soul-crushing conclusion that manifestation does not work for them. And in that conclusion, they walk away from the edge of the greatest breakthrough of their lives. They turn their backs on the very moment their harvest was about to come. They give up at the threshold, and the tragedy, the deep, heartbreaking tragedy, is that they never knew how close they were. They never knew that they were not failing because the laws of abundance are not real. They were failing because they were missing something. Because somewhere along the way, in the endless flood of manifestation, content, and law of attraction, videos, and abundance coaching, a set of essential, irreplaceable, ancient truths quietly disappeared from the conversation. And without them, all the vision boards in the world, all the affirmations, all the meditations, all the gratitude journals, none of it works the way it should. Florence Scovel Shinn knew about this disappearance. She saw it happening even in her own time, in the early 20th century, when she walked among students of truth and watched them struggle not because they were unworthy, not because the universe was withholding, but because they were working with an incomplete map. She wrote about it. She taught about it. She gave her life to restoring these lost truths to the people who needed them most. And today, in this very moment, her voice reaches across a century to find you, to meet you exactly where you are, to hand you the complete map and say, here is what you have been missing. Here is why your manifestation journey has felt harder than it should. Here are the 7 laws that most people never learn, never speak about, never teach. 7 laws that when you understand them, when you feel them in your bones and begin to live by them, everything changes. Not gradually, not eventually. Everything changes now. So settle in, open your heart, and let us begin at the very beginning, at the root of all roots, at the foundation beneath the foundation of everything Florence Scovel Shinn ever taught. The first lost law is the law of the inner equivalent. Florence Scovel Shinn taught this principle with a precision and a boldness that very few teachers matched before or after her. She said that you will never, not ever, not in a million years of affirmations and vision boards and positive thinking, you will never experience, in your outer world, what does not first exist as a living, breathing, felt reality in your inner world. This is not a suggestion. This is not a guideline or a spiritual preference. This is a law. The law of inner equivalent states that your outer life is always, without exception, an exact mirror of your inner life. Always. Not sometimes. Not when the conditions are right. Always. And here is where the great mistake happens. Here is the error that keeps people spinning their wheels for years without results. Most people approach manifestation as if the inner work is optional, as if you can simply write down what you want, say a few affirmations, and wait for the universe to deliver it, while your inner world remains a storm of doubt, unworthiness, contradiction, and fear. They want the external result without the internal transformation. They want the harvest without first becoming the soil that can grow it. Florence Scovel Shinn was relentless on this point. She said that before your good can appear, you must be the living, walking, breathing equivalent of it on the inside. She said you must feel rich before money comes. You must feel loved before love arrives. You must feel successful before success materializes, not as a performance, not as a desperate pretending, but as a genuine, settled, anchored, knowing a consciousness so completely aligned with what you desire that the outer world has no option but to catch up. This means that when someone says, "I have been affirming wealth for months and nothing has changed," the question Florence Scovel Shinn would ask is not, "Are you saying the right words?" The question is, what do you actually believe? Because if you are affirming abundance with your mouth while your heart is whispering, "But this will never really work for me," then you are sending a mixed signal to the universe. And the universe, which is extraordinarily literal, will give you exactly what you truly believe, not what you want, not what you hope for. What you believe, what you feel as real, what you hold as your inner equivalent. So the work, the deep, essential, unavoidable work, is to build the inner equivalent of your desires before you see the outer evidence of them. It is to practice feeling wealthy, to practice thinking from abundance, to practice responding to your current circumstances as a prosperous, divinely supplied, abundantly blessed person would respond. Not because you are pretending nothing is hard, but because you know with a depth that goes beyond the surface of your circumstances that what is coming is greater than what is now. Say these words with your whole heart. My inner world is a palace of abundance and faith. I now build the inner equivalent of every good thing I desire, and the outer world rushes to match it. I am rich within, and therefore I am rich without. My consciousness is my fortune, and my fortune is magnificent. The second lost law is the law of divine indifference. And this one, beloved, this one will set so many of you free. Florence Scovel Shinn spoke of a quality she called spiritual non-attachment, the ability to desire something completely and simultaneously release it completely. To want your good with your whole heart and yet hold it with an open hand. To pray specifically and fervently and then walk away from the altar with absolute trust and zero desperation. She called it divine indifference. And she was very clear that without it, the very intensity of your desire can repel the thing you most want. This sounds paradoxical. It sounds like it contradicts everything the law of attraction tells you about feeling your desire strongly. But understand the distinction Florence Scovel Shinn was making. She was not saying to want your good weakly or vaguely. She was saying that there is an enormous difference between desire and desperation, between faith and obsession, between claiming your good and clawing for it. Desire is creative. Desperation is destructive. Desire is magnetic. Desperation repels. When you are desperate for something, when you check your bank account 40 times a day to see if the money has come, when you scan your phone compulsively for the sign you've been waiting for, when you cannot stop thinking about what you lack, when your entire emotional state rises and falls with whether your manifestation has shown up, yet you are not in the energy of abundance. You are in the energy of lack. You are broadcasting the signal of, I do not have this, with every anxious thought, every desperate prayer, every white-knuckled affirmation. Florence Scovel Shinn taught her students to desire deeply and then release completely, to pray with absolute specificity and then hand it over to what she called the perfect plan of God. She said, Infinite intelligence, I ask for this or something better, and I trust completely in your perfect timing and perfect delivery. And then she meant it. She actually released it. She actually walked away from the prayer with her hands open and her heart at peace, knowing that the work was done in the invisible and would appear in the visible in exactly the right moment. This is divine indifference, not cold, not passive, not indifferent to whether your good comes, but indifferent to the when and the how, trusting that the universe has a perfect plan and that plan is already in motion. This is the law most people never practice. This is the energetic posture that turns the key in the lock. And this is what Florence Scovel Shinn warned us about, that desperation is one of the most powerful blocks to manifestation, and that learning to release without giving up is one of the most advanced and most transformative skills a human being can develop. Say these words now. I desire my good deeply, and I release it completely. I trust the perfect plan of the universe without reservation. I am free from desperation. I am free from obsession. My good comes to me easily, naturally, and at exactly the right moment, and I receive it with open hands and a peaceful heart. The third lost law is the law of spoken authority. This is one that Florence Scovel Shinn spoke about more passionately than almost any other teacher of her era, and yet it is almost entirely absent from modern manifestation teaching. She taught that the human voice, not the thoughts, not the feelings, not the visualizations, but the actual spoken word, carries a unique and extraordinary creative power. That when you open your mouth and speak a word with faith and conviction, you are not just expressing a thought, you are making a decree. You are issuing a command to the universe. You are wielding what she called the wand, and that wand is made of sound, of breath, of the vibration that moves through your body and out into the world. She studied the ancient texts carefully and understood that in the beginning there was the word, not the thought, the word, the spoken, vibrating, living word. And she brought that understanding into her practical teaching by insisting that her students not merely think their affirmations, but speak them out loud, with authority, with the full, embodied knowing that what they were saying was not a wish, but a fact in the making. This matters because something happens in the body when you speak aloud that does not happen when you merely think. When you think an affirmation, it can remain on the surface, a guest in your mind that has not yet moved into your heart. But when you speak it, when you hear it with your own ears, when the vibration moves through your chest, when the sound fills the room around you, the affirmation becomes an experience. Your nervous system receives it differently. Your subconscious mind takes it more seriously. And the universe, which is vibration, which is sound, which is the word made manifest, responds to the audible decree in ways it simply cannot respond to a silent thought. Florence Scovel Shinn warned her students about the destructive power of careless speech with equal passion. She said that people speak their own curses without knowing it. That when you say, "I am always broke. Nothing ever works out for me. I never get what I want. People like me don't get rich," you are making decrees with your wand. You are issuing commands. And the universe, which does not have a sense of humor about this, which does not say, "Oh, they didn't really mean that," delivers exactly what you declared. This is why she was so disciplined about her own speech, why she corrected herself in the middle of sentences, why she developed a deep attentiveness to the words coming out of her mouth at every moment. Because she knew, she absolutely, unshakably knew that her words were her world, that the life she was living was a direct reflection of the words she had spoken, and that to change her life, she had to change her speech, not just in formal affirmation sessions, but in every casual conversation, every offhand comment, every moment of frustration when the old words tried to come back. Speak these words now, out loud if you possibly can. My word is law in the universe of my life. I speak abundance, I speak health, I speak love, I speak divine supply, and the universe hastens to make my word flesh. I choose every word with intention and authority. My mouth is a wand of creation, and I wield it wisely, powerfully, and for my highest good. The fourth lost law, the one most people ignore, the one Florence Scovel Shinn returned to again and again, with a kind of urgency that suggests she knew it was the most overlooked, and yet the most powerful of all, is the law of the imaging faculty. Not visualization, not vision boards, the imaging faculty. And there is a profound and life-changing difference between the two. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that every human being possesses a divine faculty, a God-given creative capacity to form images in the mind that correspond perfectly to the life they desire. She called this the imaging faculty, and she said it was among the most sacred and most neglected gifts in the human spiritual toolbox. Not because people do not visualize. Many people visualize. They see images of what they want. They picture the house, the car, the bank account, the partner, but most people visualize with fear underneath it. They see the image and simultaneously whisper to themselves, "But what if it doesn't come?" They visualize from a place of lack, reaching upward towards something they feel separated from, grasping at a future that feels distant and uncertain. True use of the imaging faculty, as Florence Scovel Shinn taught it, operates completely differently. It operates from the principle that the image you hold in your mind with faith is not a picture of something far away. It is a spiritual fact. It already exists. It is already real in the divine realm. And your job in holding the image is not to wish it into existence, but to acknowledge its existence, to call it forth from the invisible into the visible, to say with your imaging faculty, I see this. I recognize this as mine. I call this forward now. She taught her students to hold the image quietly, steadily, lovingly, the way you would hold something precious in cupped hands, not desperately, not frantically, not with the white-knuckled grip of someone who is afraid it will disappear, but with the gentle, steady, confident certainty of someone who knows that what they are holding is already real and is already on its way. She also warned about what she called false imaging, the habit of vividly imagining the worst, picturing failure, catastrophizing the future. She said that the imaging faculty is completely impartial. It does not know whether the image you are holding serves you or harms you. It simply responds to the image with creative power, which means that people who are naturally gifted visualizers, but who spend their time vividly imagining disasters, conflicts, and worst-case scenarios, are using the imaging faculty against themselves with extraordinary efficiency. They are manifesting their fears with the same creative power that could be manifesting their dreams. This is the warning Florence Scovel Shinn issued that most people never hear. She said, guard your imagination as carefully as you guard your spoken word, because your imagination is your creative instrument, and it builds your life whether you direct it consciously or not. You cannot afford to let your imaging faculty run loose, feeding on fear and negativity and worst-case scenarios. You must take it by the hand, direct it deliberately and say, this is what I am building. This is the image I am holding. This is the vision I am calling forth. And I hold it with faith, with peace, with the deep and settled knowing that it is already mine. Say these words. I hold the image of my perfect life with steady faith and loving certainty. I see my abundance clearly and completely. I see my good already manifested, already mine, already real. My imaging faculty is directed, powerful, and aligned with my highest good. I call my vision forth from the invisible into the visible now, and I receive it with gratitude and joy. The fifth lost law is the law of divine timing and preparation. Florence Scovel Shinn spoke about this law with a particular kind of tenderness, as though she understood that this is the law that tests people most severely, the law that tries faith most deeply, the law that separates those who receive their good from those who do not. She said that there is always a period, sometimes brief, sometimes extended, between the spiritual planting and the physical harvest, between the prayer and the answer, between the claim and the delivery, and what you do in that period determines everything. She taught that the period between the prayer and the answer is not empty. It is not the universe being slow. It is not evidence that your prayer was not heard. It is preparation time. It is the period in which the universe is organizing the people, the circumstances, the conditions, the opportunities, and the inner readiness that will allow your good to arrive in its perfect form. And she was clear that the preparation required is not just external, it is internal. It is the development of the consciousness, the character, and the capacity to hold and sustain the blessing when it comes. This is why she told her students to watch what she called signs following, to look for the small signals that their prayer was in motion, that the universe was working behind the scenes, that the preparation was happening in the invisible, a chance encounter with the right person, a book that falls open to the perfect page, an unexpected idea that appears in the quiet of morning, a door that closes but then another, better one that opens just around the corner. These are signs following. They are the universe's way of saying, I heard you, I am working, keep the faith. But she also taught the harder part of this law, the discipline of not forcing the timing, the practice of trusting that what has not yet appeared has not appeared because the preparation is not yet complete. She said that many blessings are delayed not because the universe is withholding, not because you are unworthy, not because your affirmations are not working, but because you are not yet ready to receive them in a way that will allow you to keep them. And that when the preparation is complete, when the inner equivalent is built and the consciousness is ready, the manifestation comes not as a trickle, but as a flood. There is a story Florence Scovel Shinn told about a woman who prayed and prayed for a husband, and month after month, year after year, no one appeared. And rather than losing faith, she used that time to become the most loving, the most grounded, the most genuinely joyful and complete version of herself, not as a strategy, but as an authentic spiritual practice. And one day, without drama or announcement, the right person walked into her life, and he stayed. Because she was ready. Because the inner work was done. Because the preparation was complete. And she understood, looking back, that every month of waiting had been a month of becoming, and that she would not have been able to sustain what arrived if it had arrived before she was ready to receive it. This is divine timing. This is preparation. Trust the process. Trust the timing. Trust that what is coming is worth the preparation, and that the preparation is the blessing disguised as the delay. Say these words. I trust divine timing completely and without reservation. My good is on its way to me, perfectly prepared and perfectly timed. I use this waiting season as a season of becoming. I am preparing myself now in spirit, in mind, in heart, to receive and sustain the full abundance that is already mine in the divine realm. I am ready. I am worthy. I am waiting with faith, not fear. The sixth lost law is the law of the boomerang. Florence Scovel Shinn loved this law. She returned to it constantly because she understood that it was one of the most misunderstood and most consequential laws in operation in every human life. She called it the boomerang because she said that everything you send out, every word, every thought, every action, every energy directed at another person, comes back to you, not metaphorically. Literally, what you send out returns to you, always, without fail, multiplied. This law operates in ways that delight and in ways that terrify, and Florence Scovel Shinn was unflinching in her teaching of both sides. She said that when you bless someone, when you genuinely hold another person in a consciousness of good, when you wish them well with your heart and not just your words, when you celebrate their success rather than resenting it, you are sending a boomerang of blessing that will arc through the universe and return to you with force. She said that there is no faster way to accelerate your own good than to genuinely, sincerely desire the good of others. But she was equally clear about the other side. She said that when you curse someone, when you hold resentment, when you wish ill on a competitor, when you resent another's success, when you speak destructively about another person, you are sending a boomerang of harm that will return to you with equal force. Not because the universe is punishing you, not because God is keeping score, but because this is simply how the law works. You are part of an interconnected whole, and what you direct outward moves through that whole and returns to its source. This is why Florence Scovel Shinn taught so emphatically about blessing your competitors, about praying for the people who have wronged you, about refusing to speak destructively about anyone, because every destructive word is a boomerang you are sending toward yourself. She said, what you say about others, you say about yourself, for you are all one. And she meant it practically, not just philosophically. This law also explains one of the most powerful manifestation techniques she taught, the practice of blessing your money. She told her students to bless every dollar they spent, to send it out with love, and with the spoken decree that it would return multiplied. She told them to bless the money they paid in bills, to bless the money they gave to others, to bless every financial outflow with the knowing that the boomerang law guaranteed its return. And she watched her students' financial lives transform when they shifted from resenting every expenditure to blessing every outflow, from clutching their money in fear to releasing it in faith. Think about what you have been sending out. Think about the boomerangs currently in flight, the words you have spoken, the energies you have directed, the resentments you have harbored, the blessings you have withheld. And then make a decision, here, now, in this moment, to change what you are sending, to become a person whose every outgoing thought and word and action is a boomerang of blessing, of goodwill, of abundance, of love, because what you send out returns to you. And you deserve to receive back only the most beautiful, the most abundant, the most magnificent blessings imaginable. Say these words, every word, thought, and energy I send into the world is a boomerang of blessing. I bless everyone in my life, including those who have wronged me. I bless my money as it goes out and as it returns multiplied. I wish genuine good to every person I encounter. I am a channel of blessing, and blessing returns to me now in overflowing, abundant waves. The seventh lost law, and I want you to receive this one deeply, because Florence Scovel Shinn considered it perhaps the most sacred of all, the one that undergirds every other law, the one that, when truly understood and lived, makes the other six operate with effortless, breathtaking power, is the law of oneness with the Source. She called it by many names across her writings. She called it the knowledge of God as supply. She called it unity with the infinite. She called it the consciousness of divine supply. But at its heart, this law says one thing with absolute, unwavering clarity. You are not separate from the source of all abundance. You never were. You never can be. And the moment you truly know this, not intellectually, not as a beautiful concept, but as a lived, felt, embodied truth, poverty becomes impossible for you. Florence Scovel Shinn watched people suffer financially and spiritually, not because the universe was cruel or God was withholding, but because they had accepted the most devastating illusion available to human consciousness, the illusion of separation. The belief that they were alone, stranded on a finite island of resources, scrambling for their share in a world of limitation. The belief that their supply came from their job, from their bank account, from their business, from their family, from some external source that could be taken away, cut off, dried up, or withdrawn. And from within that belief, from within that consciousness of separation, every financial challenge became a catastrophe, because if the external source disappears, everything disappears. But she taught with every breath she took that this is the great lie, that God, the universe, the infinite intelligence, is the one and only source of all supply. And that the job, the business, the client, the investment, these are channels, they are not the source. They are temporary, shifting, changeable channels through which the one, unchanging, inexhaustible, infinitely generous source delivers supply. And when you know this, when you anchor yourself in the consciousness of oneness with that source, you become fearless, you become abundant. You become a person whom poverty simply cannot touch, because you are connected to something that cannot run out. This is what Florence Scovel Shinn meant when she said that her students should make God their supply, not their job, not their savings account, not their partner or their family or the economy. God, the infinite, the one. And from that consciousness, even when a channel closes, even when the job ends, when the client leaves, when the investment fails, the person of true spiritual understanding does not panic. They do not collapse. They say, with a steadiness that seems almost supernatural to those around them, one door closes, another opens. My source is infinite. An infinite supply now flows to me through new and perfect channels. And here is what makes this law so staggering in its practical power. When you genuinely live from this consciousness, when you are truly anchored in the knowing of your oneness with the infinite source, you become a channel through which abundance flows not just to you but through you. You become someone through whom the universe blesses the world. Your presence becomes a gift. Your work becomes a blessing. Your money becomes a force for good in the world. And the universe, which loves nothing more than a clear and willing channel, pours itself through you with a generosity that staggers the imagination. You are not separate from your good. You are not separated from your abundance. You are not at the mercy of an economy, or a market, or a circumstance, or a person. You are one with the source of all things. You are one with the infinite. You are one with the intelligence that holds the galaxies in place and grows the flowers in the field and moves the tides with perfect, rhythmic precision. And that intelligence, that love, that power, that infinite generosity, it is on your side. It is working for you. It is conspiring for your highest good at every moment of every day. And the only thing that has ever stood between you and the full expression of that truth in your material life is the belief that it is not so. Believe it now. Believe it with everything in you. Believe it in the morning and in the evening and in the middle of the night when the fears come. Believe it when the bank account is low and the bills are high. Believe it when circumstances contradict it loudly. Believe it not because you can see the evidence, but because the evidence is coming, and it is coming because you believe. Say these words now, with everything you have. I am one with the infinite source of all supply. I am never separated from my abundance. God is my supply, and God's supply is unlimited, inexhaustible, and flowing to me now, through perfect channels, in perfect ways. I release all fear of lack. I release all belief in separation. I am whole. I am supplied. I am richly and completely provided for by the one infinite source that never runs out, never fails, and never withdraws its love from me. And now, beloved, let us bring all 7 of these lost laws together into one living, breathing, magnificent whole. Because that is what Florence Scovel Shinn always intended, not 7 separate practices, not 7 boxes to check, but one integrated, unified, moment-by-moment way of being in the world. A consciousness of abundance so complete, so unshakable, so deeply rooted in spiritual law and spiritual truth, that it becomes the lens through which you see everything, the ground on which you stand in every situation, the unbreakable foundation of your prosperous life. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and living from all 7 laws simultaneously. Waking up knowing that your inner world is the blueprint for your outer world, and setting it with intention before you even get out of bed. Knowing that you can desire deeply and release completely, that your desires are held in the universe's capable hands and will arrive in perfect time. Opening your mouth and speaking your day with authority and love. Choosing words that build your world rather than words that tear it down. Holding the image of your magnificent life quietly, steadily, lovingly in the temple of your imagination, calling it forth from the invisible into the visible with patient, faithful certainty. Moving through your day trusting divine timing, seeing signs following, preparing yourself on the inside for the blessing that is preparing itself on the outside. Sending nothing but boomerangs of blessing into the world toward your family, your colleagues, your competitors, your clients, even the strangers who cross your path for a single moment, knowing that every boomerang you send is already arcing back toward you. And through it all, through every moment of the day, resting in the deep, unshakable knowing of your oneness with the infinite source, never forgetting for a moment that you are connected, you are supplied, you are loved, and you are abundant beyond anything the outer world currently shows you. This is the life Florence Scovel Shinn was teaching. This is the life she herself lived. This is the life that becomes possible, that becomes inevitable, when you stop looking for the one law, the one secret, the one technique, and instead embrace the whole truth, the complete teaching, the full set of laws that she labored to give us. She did not warn us about these laws because they are dangerous. She warned us about them because they are powerful, and power requires understanding. She warned us because she saw what happened when people operated without the law of inner equivalent. They affirmed abundance while radiating scarcity. She saw what happened without the law of divine indifference. They strangled their desires with desperation. She saw what happened without the law of spoken authority. They canceled their prayers with careless words. She saw what happened without the law of the imaging faculty. They built their fears more vividly than their dreams. She saw what happened without the law of divine timing. They gave up in the preparation season, right before the harvest. She saw what happened without the law of the boomerang. They resented their way out of abundance, cursed their way into lack. And she saw what happened. She saw it most heartbreakingly of all without the law of oneness with the source. She saw people scrambling, grasping, fighting for their survival on a planet that was overflowing with divine supply because they had forgotten or had never known that the supply was theirs, that it had always been theirs, that it would always be theirs. Do not be that person, not anymore, not after today. You now hold the complete map. You have the laws that were missing. You have the warnings Florence Scovel Shinn gave us, not to frighten us, but to equip us, not to overwhelm us, but to liberate us. And now the question is not whether these laws are real. They are. The question is not whether they work. They do. The only question is whether you will use them, whether you will practice the law of inner equivalent with the same energy you have been giving to the outer world, whether you will develop the divine indifference that releases your good into the universe's capable hands, whether you will speak your world into existence with authority and love, whether you will direct your imaging faculty toward your dreams rather than your fears, whether you will trust the divine timing and use the preparation season as the gift it is, whether you will send only boomerangs of blessing and watch them return in kind, and whether you will rest, truly rest, deeply rest in the knowing of your oneness with the infinite source that has always been, is now, and will always be, your inexhaustible supply. Say all of this now. Say it as your declaration, your decree, your personal covenant with the universe. I am the living embodiment of divine abundance. My inner world is a palace of wealth, love, and faith, and my outer world reflects it perfectly. I desire my good deeply, and I release it completely, trusting the perfect plan of the universe without reservation. My word is my wand, and I speak abundance, health, love, and divine supply into every area of my life. I hold the image of my magnificent, prosperous life with steady, loving, faithful certainty, and I call it forth from the invisible into the visible now. I trust divine timing completely. I am being prepared for my greatest blessings, and I receive that preparation with gratitude and joy. I send only boomerangs of blessing into the world, and they return to me multiplied and magnified. And above all, I know with every cell of my body and every chamber of my heart that I am one with the infinite source of all supply. I am never alone. I am never unsupported. I am never truly lacking anything, for I am connected to the source that creates galaxies, that turns winter into spring, that always, always, always finds a way. And that source has decided that I shall prosper, that I shall be blessed, that I shall live in the overflow of its infinite generosity. And I receive that decision now, with an open heart, an open mind, open hands, and a soul that Florence Scovel Shinn herself would recognize as one who has finally understood the game. It is done. It is so. And so it is. Go now. Go and live these 7 laws. Not perfectly, not without stumbling, but consistently, devotedly, with the persistence of someone who has found the truth and will not put it down, with the faith of someone who has been shown the map and trusts the territory it describes, with the joy, yes, the joy of someone who has remembered that abundance is not the goal. Abundance is the natural state. It is what you return to when you release the lies you were given and reclaim the truth you were born with. Florence Scovel Shinn gave us her life's work. She handed us the keys. Today we use them. Today the doors open. Today the harvest comes. Today the overflow begins. And tomorrow, and every day after that, you will wake up in a life that grows richer, more beautiful, more free, more filled with divine supply than the day before because you finally, fully, completely came home to the truth that has been waiting for you all along. You are abundant, you are supplied, you are blessed. And from this moment forward, nothing can take that from you. It is done. It is done. It is gloriously, powerfully, eternally done.